In the early 2000s, the message boards of Kung Fu magazine were a hostile place. Users waged vicious, multi-page text wars over who truly held the right to teach the old martial systems. A massive rift formed over two specific men, Master Gin Foon Mark and Master Henry Pu Yi. Both had studied under the same legendary teacher. Both claimed the legitimate lineage of the Southern Praying Mantis system. To settle the dispute, forum users demanded proof, but they didn't ask for sparring footage or a demonstration of physical technique. They asked who possessed a specific piece of wooden furniture, Grandmaster Lum Sang's ancestral altar. Today, this tiered shrine sits quietly in Master Gin Foon Mark's school, a highly exclusive, vetted facility where outsiders are rarely permitted through the doors. It seems absurd to an outside observer. Modern, highly capable fighters treating a lacquered wooden stand as the ultimate, non-negotiable arbiter of their authority. To understand why furniture holds more weight than physical violence, we have to look at how this martial art was built. In the mid-17th century, the Han-led Ming dynasty collapsed under the invasion of the Manchu Qing Empire. As the Qing expanded their territory, ethnic groups like the Hakka, literally meaning northern guests, fled southward to escape severe persecution. Pushed to the margins of society, Hakka communities formed deep, systemic resistance networks to fight the empire. The martial systems they relied on were forged in hiding. According to local lore, rebel monks fleeing the destruction of the Shaolin Temple took refuge deep in bamboo forests, or they escaped to the sea by disguising themselves as common ship cooks. If Qing soldiers caught you practicing combat, they executed you. Secrecy was an absolute survival mechanism. Forms were practiced in tight spaces, and the most lethal applications were kept within closed doors, taught only to blood relatives or sworn brothers. Southern Praying Mantis emerged directly from this environment. It was never intended to be a competitive sport or a public display. It was an assassination and survival tool engineered strictly for the shadows. Because the Hakka fought in cramped quarters, they built a compact, zero-distance combat style. Southern Mantis relies on explosive short power, driving heavy kinetic energy through rapid forearm strikes without needing any room to wind up. Advanced training sets introduced high-precision targeting. Practitioners trained in dim mach, striking specific pressure points to collapse the vagus nerve or disrupt the carotid sinus, prioritizing lethal nerve damage over blunt force. But mechanical violence is only the outer shell of the system. The core of the art lies in internal cultivation, anchored by a grueling hard qigong form called Sarmbo Jin. This internal training escalates into Shiem Kong, or spirit kung fu. The Hakka founders believed that true martial efficacy required drawing energy directly from the spirits of past masters. To achieve that, you have to actively honor them. This is the exact function of the altar. It is a spiritual battery for the entire school, serving as the literal conduit connecting living practitioners to the founders who died preserving the art. Mastering the physical techniques means nothing if you lack the spiritual blessing of the lineage. By extension, whoever controls the Grandmaster's physical altar commands the spiritual power of the entire system. That authority eventually crossed the Pacific. In the mid-20th century, the art arrived in America through a Grandmaster named Lum Sang. Lum Sang settled in New York, teaching deep within the Chinese Freemasons. He passed the lethal, closed-door techniques to a very small group of elite disciples, men like Gin Foon Mark and Henry Pu Yi. Lum Sang guided the system for decades. However, when he passed away, he left behind a massive structural void. He never explicitly named a single Grandmaster to succeed him. Without a written decree or a clearly designated heir, the living disciples were left to sort out the hierarchy themselves. Physical possession of Lum Sang's sacred artifacts became the only tangible proof of succession available. Decades later, that ambiguity fueled the bitter text wars on the Kung Fu magazine forums. The users arguing late into the night weren't actually debating physical technique. They were fighting a proxy war over spiritual legitimacy, demanding to know who held the physical right to call upon the ancestors. The fallout was real. An attempt to build a unity-focused heritage foundation collapsed under the weight of these political disputes. Facing endless friction, Master Gin Foon Mark unlisted his phone number, restricted access to his school, and returned the art strictly behind closed doors. There is a sharp contrast between the loud, endless digital noise of the internet and the silent, physical reality of the altar sitting quietly in a guarded room. The deep reverence for the dead and absolute secrecy allowed Southern praying mantis to survive the Qing dynasty. Today, those exact same forces are fracturing the community. It remains a strictly analog treasure, fighting to protect its lineage in a digital age.